now. And so we may have talked about these a little bit last time about what was coming, but now these are items that are in place within sales. So first is the Kanban board. Next, we'll talk about the new view editor, or if you've been in the Power Apps space, the view editor that we should have had 10 years ago. The sales team member, I want to talk and make sure everybody understands how that license enforcement is going to be happening at the end of June. And then lastly, we'll go over LinkedIn. So, all right, Kanban boards, very cool stuff. This is also a precursor, knock on wood, of what I've been told from the product team at Microsoft that will also be in project operations. So a more complete set will come. Opportunities are the only entity as of now that you are able to set up a Kanban board based on the stages in your business process flow. But you can use a business process flow that you've designed yourself. Only thing you have to make sure is that it is set at the very top of the BPF order. So it has to be the one at the top of that list when you set the order of your business process flows. It needs to be the default one in order for the Kanban board to work. The other thing is that Kanban boards also work for activities now. So you're able to manage and basically see what are my new, what are in progress, and what's done. That goes off of the status. And so using that state code, you can manipulate that if you want to have additional Kanban board columns. All right, the view editor, if you use Power Platform and Power Apps, this should look familiar. If you don't, this probably looks like something out of some science fiction novel if you've been in Dynamics since 4.0 or earlier. Finally, we're getting rid of the old advanced find editor. You just need to make sure that you've applied your release wave 1 and that you're on the latest version. And now when you go to create a personal view, you are going to get this view designer. If you don't see this when you're creating views, when you're doing system views, shame on you, you're doing it in the old solution format. Get over to Power Apps and build your solutions there. But very cool stuff. You'll notice that the column attributes down in the bottom right, you're able to go between your primary entities and your related entities. It is drag and drop. You can reorder, and now the filter conditions are right above it, so you don't have to click all these different little tabs and have modals pop up. Okay. All right, the sales team members. So those of you that are using a team member license for Dynamics, June 30th is the date that this will become enforced. What you need to know is that a team member license will only be able to access the sales team member app. If you have somebody with that license and you've been telling them to go to Sales Hub or whatever other field service, marketing, any of those apps, they cannot. So what does that mean? That means you need to take whatever items that they were navigating to in those other apps and then add them to your model-driven app, sales team member, and then make sure that you add it to the site map navigation. Very important. You've still got over a month left to do this. Do it in your sandbox. If you have questions about it or questions about what the licensing entails for a sales team member, reach out and we'd be more than happy to walk through that with you. And lastly, in this section for me for sales, sales in LinkedIn. If you didn't know, there are licenses and a particular program within LinkedIn that lets you see your Sales Navigator content natively in Dynamics. Now, this doesn't mean that if you use LinkedIn, you're going to be able to see it. It doesn't mean that if you sign up for the Sales Professional that you'll see it. You have to have a Sales Professional team or a Sales Enterprise license with LinkedIn. We are one of only 15 partners that have coordinated with Microsoft and LinkedIn to help sell their Microsoft Relationship Sales solution. We have been using this now and are familiar with its content. So if you have questions around that and how that functionality works, feel free to reach out.